just started on its own. Okay, well, I guess that's fine. I'm just sitting here thinking to myself. Anyway, about what I want to talk about, so I guess I'll just start since the video started. Things have been crazy, to say the least. I have been doing a lot of reading, because things have just been really stressful, and to help myself out a little, I went and ordered a bunch of books from my childhood that I have not read since my childhood. I'm a big rereader. I love revisiting books over and over again because I find it fascinating, like seeing how my perspective has changed over the years. But these are books that I actually have not read since I was a teenager, and it has been wild revisiting. I had this moment where I was just so strongly reminded of that scene in the Never-Ending Story where Atreyu has to step through the looking glass. Well, not the looking, but well, it's a mirror. It's the magic mirror gate, and it's this challenging thing because this mirror, it shows you like your true inner self. And the gnome Gmork, who's telling Atreyu about, the trials he's going to have to go through in order to get to the sphinxes, he's saying that most people aren't able to do it because they're just so horrified at what they see inside themselves. And Atreyu is just so surprised and perplexed and confused. He's like, what am I seeing? He gets to the magic mirror gate and he sees a little boy reading a book, and it's Bastion. And I have it here with me, actually. I brought it. This is one of the few book movie adaptations where I just love equally both. The movie is wonderful. The book is amazing. This is an all ages book. It is, to me, it's just about like using virtues to combat faults, and set in like this, fantasy world that is presented in such like just this universal, just the storytelling of it with like the light and the dark and told in such a non-traditional way. You gotta read this book, it's so good. But I lost my train of thought. So Atreyu sees this little boy, and it's they're a reflection of each other. Like because so often you find out that things that you consider faults are actually strengths, and things that you thought were strengths can actually be faults. And it just really depends on how you apply different methods of connecting with somebody or trying to understand somebody in different situations. And it's a really cool book. And so I'm reading these books, and it was just such a cool experience. You know, I had this, because these are like YA novels, so they're not for, you know, they're not children's stories, you know, they're not, you know, adult books. It's YA fiction, and it was just so fascinating. I felt like that moment where it was, you know, it's like this mirror, and and we're seeing each other on the other side of it, and it's like little Andrea reading these books, and then big Andrea reading these books, and experiencing realizations to things I didn't understand before when I first read them as a kid. And it was just really cool having these moments where it was like I was in two places, in two different places of like time and space at the same time, and having these realizations and understandings about what was happening in the story that had confused me before because I was too young to understand them. And it's just been so interesting, like revisiting different lessons and interpretations of how I took things and how they resonate with me now. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day about how I was really sad about how I realized that this feeling that I had, these beliefs, I used to believe just so earnestly, just every fiber of my being, that I had this saying, like, I would rather die with forgiveness in my heart than live with blood on my hands. And I really felt that. And that came from reading this book. I've talked about it before, Quo Vadis, by Henryk Sienkiewicz. This book won the Pulitzer. This came out in 1896, I believe. Yep, 1896. And like the title, Quo Vadis, it's Latin for where are you going? And when I read this book, it really helped kind of give structure to all these feelings and beliefs I had already inherently had about like just how I felt, the way things worked. And it really fostered in me this desire to cultivate a way of living with like just unconditional compassion and forgiveness and love. And I just really just felt this, and like talk about it with people when it would come up in conversation. You know, I just was so convicted in these feelings. And I was, sad talking to a couple friends last week about how I just was kind of realizing I don't know if I feel that way anymore. And I was wondering, is this a loss of ignorance or innocence? Is it both? And why? And is this growth or is this deterioration? Like, I was so upset. And that was part of why, you know, I bought all, you know, I was just like, and, you know, I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking and feeling and reading and just like going back to like little Andrea and like trying to figure out, you know, why do I feel these things? And, you know, why did I feel these things before? And, you know, what was, you know, just trying to like put all these pieces together. And I was remembering how like the way I see things, you know, you have so much time on this earth. You have so much time alive. And what you're going to do with your time and your energy on this planet, you're going to be doing one of three things. You're going to either be constructive, or you're going to be destructive, or you're going to do nothing. And it's going to be a little bit of all three of those things all the time. Some more than most. Some do more nothing. Some are more destructive. Some are more constructive. And they all have their place. They all are part of the workings of everything that has ever existed. It's all being put together and broken down with periods of nothing in between. And for better or worse, that's kind of why it doesn't really matter what you do, because it all has its place. It's all going to fit in one way or the other. The universe doesn't waste anything. It's all going to get put to use. It's very elegant that way. Or you can care and try to put effort towards, you know, whatever it is that floats your boat. Some people, I think, actually like being a destructive force. And some people like doing nothing. And some people enjoy creating things. And so I'm reading all these books and like going over all these feelings and these beliefs and trying to figure out like, why do I feel this way? Is this good or bad? Am I okay with it? Do I want to fight it? Like, which way do I want to go? I felt like I was at a crossroads. I was at a precipice, and I just was like, I don't know what to think or feel about anything anymore. And I was reminded of how, like, you know, all these protests have been happening, and a friend of mine was saying how she just felt like it was so pointless. And I was like, I know what you mean, but you gotta, like, try and look at the big picture. Do you want to look back and see that there were protests happening? Do you want to look back and see that people tried to fight back? Do you want to look back and see that people stood up and said something? Or do you want to look back and see that everybody felt like, well, this is pointless, so nobody did anything? I'd rather look back and see that people tried. I'd rather look back and see that people cared and tried to do something. Again, how do you want to spend your time and your energy on this planet? Like, because we're all going to die. We're all going to die. Nothing's forever. So when it gets to that end, what is that time and that energy? What's gonna reflect back? You know? And it just reminded me again of just like, you know, Atreyu and Bastion in that mirror. And how so many people, when they look in that mirror, they run away, terrified. They're so horrified at what they see inside themselves. Another interest, so yeah, I'm just thinking about all these stories, and I'm reminded again of the never-ending story, and just going back to like forgiveness. Do you die with forgiveness in your heart, or do you live with blood on your hands? Do you fight? And in the movie, there's that line when Atreyu and Gmork are facing down, and Atreyu says, well, if we're all gonna just die anyway, I'd rather die fighting, right? And then I was reminded of another book from my childhood. We all know this one, right? Yes. There is a scene in this book. Let's see here. Page 53. So they take these children to witness something. They take the children to see, it's basically a battle. It's been so long since I've read this book. I thought I could find it easily, but I'm not. But they take them out into space, high up into the atmosphere, and they see this shadow. And looking at this shadow, I mean, they're just filled with just the sense of dread. It's just like, the incarnation of evil. And there's a fight between this darkness and a star. And the star dies, but in dying, like in the darkness dissipates as well. Like they end up killing each other. And then you come to find out that Mrs. Watson used to be a star, but she's not anymore because she also went to battle against the darkness and perished, and is now, this new form as Mrs. Watson. Oh. Did I find it? They're talking about it. And Calvin says, he goes, but what is it? We know it's evil, but what is it? And Mrs. Witch says, you have said it, it's evil. It's powers of darkness. But what's going to happen? We will continue to fight. And Mrs. Who, she speaks and quotes all the time. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. darkness seemed to seethe and writhe. Was this meant to comfort them? They're watching, like, this happening. Suddenly there was a great burst of light through the darkness. The light spread out, and where it touched the darkness disappeared. The light spread until the patch of dark thing had vanished, and there was only a gentle shining, and through the shining came the stars, clear and pure. Then slowly the shining dwindled until it too was gone, and there was nothing but stars and starlight. No shadows, no fear, only the stars and the clear darkness of space, quite different from the fearful darkness of the thing. You see, the medium cried, smiling happily, it can be overcome. It is being overcome all the time. Tell us exactly what happened. It was a star, Mrs. Watson said sadly, a star giving up its life in battle with the thing. It won, oh yes, my children, it won, but it lost its life in the winning. Mrs. Witch spoke again. It was not so long for you, was it? It was not so long ago for you, was it? Charles Wallace went up to Mrs. Watson. I see, now I understand. You were a star once, weren't you? And you did what that star just did. And then Mrs. Watson says, I didn't mean to tell you, I didn't mean ever to let you know. But oh, my dears, I did so love being a star. So, I feel like it's not so much a loss of innocence or ignorance. Maybe a little loss of innocence, because when I went into this feeling of like, oh, just unconditional compassion and forgiveness and blah, 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 it really was like very doe-eyed and just very naive. And over the years, sometimes you gotta fight the darkness. Sometimes the star has to go against the dark thing. Sometimes the child has to go against the wolf. And going back and revisiting all of these books really did help me. Like, it just put me on this path of like revisiting other old stories that meant so much to me when I was a kid, that put these ideas and like beliefs and just concepts and it's been an interesting week. It's been an interesting week. I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful to have these literary friends in my life to help guide me and remind me, and like they feel like the most patient friends who I just get to know more and more over the decades. And just reminded me of like how I was having a conversation with an old friend of mine a couple weeks back about this whole situation I have going on with William Stout, and how I was saying when I decided to start making these videos again, how it just felt like, I just felt like this wounded animal hiding in a cave. And I was tired of hiding in this dark cave alone. And that I was ready to like just pick up a rock and just strike it as hard as I can to make as many sparks as possible to get a fire going and not hide in the darkness anymore and not be bullied anymore, and to stand up for myself and to fight back, because compassion is great, and forgiveness is great, love is great, but I am a human being. I have my limits. A friend of mine sent me this podcast to listen to. This was years ago, and it was all about forgiveness. They know that that's a big topic for me because I've just been through a lot over the years. And the interview ended with the host asking the guest, you know, how did he put it? Is there anything you believe is truly unforgivable? Are there things that are truly unforgivable? And that's when she talked about how, I mean, yes, and that means different things for different people. We're all human. We all have our limits. And we all decide for ourselves what those limits are before we decide it's time to fight back. It's time to push back. It's time to not take on someone else's darkness anymore. And again, I was reminded, you know, of the star fighting the darkness, and Atreyu and Bastion with the mirror, and like it's reflecting back of what's inside you, and how most people just run in absolute terror when they see. And that reminded me of, remember at the end of Legend, how the fairies, they use like reflective surfaces to reflect the sunlight to destroy darkness. And it's just so funny to me now how this man that I've told repeatedly to leave me alone, to the point where I reached out to the police to have them speak on my behalf for me, tell this man leave me alone, and he still wouldn't. And I found in my old phone screenshots that I took of my account. They are, and I point that way because the old phone, it's charging there now. I was going to pull it out and show, but I don't need to do that. Screenshots that I took of when, you know, after, because this all started, I first told him to leave me alone November of last year. And then in January of this year, that's when he decided to start like posting comments on my YouTube videos. And I didn't take a screenshot of the comment because I don't care what you have to say. I really just want you out of my life. But I did take screenshots of instructions for how to block someone on YouTube, which, as I mentioned before, it's kind of useless when you block somebody on YouTube. They can still watch, like, and subscribe. They just can't comment anymore. And I took a screenshot of YouTube, like the notification popping up saying, you have blocked this account and disabled all comments. And this is like, this notification is like with his profile, because it was his profile that I blocked. And it's just so funny now, because now that I've started doing these videos, I've noticed that he's still subscribed, but he doesn't like the videos anymore. He doesn't like the videos anymore, but he's still subscribed. And to that, all I can say is, do you like what you see? Guess not. Do you like what you see? Guess not. Thank God for these stories. I'm so grateful to have these. And as far as this pile that I got, that I've been working through, we will go over these later. But I highly encourage you, I highly recommend, if you're going through a lot of stress right now and are feeling a certain kind of way about a lot of feelings, revisit old books from when you were a kid. For one thing, it's great stress relief. It's a lot of fun to read. It's a lot of fun. It's like getting to go back and hang out with yourself as a kid. And it really helps put you just on this thought path of, what did you used to feel before? And how do you feel about that now? What are the differences and why? It's a much more constructive way to spend, if you're going to be in turmoil inside, this helps kind of anchor things along in these tumultuous seas. So, it's a beautiful Sunday. My family's in town. I'm going to go spend some time with them. And I guess I'll end it with that song at the end of Legend, teaching us to love for goodness sake. Just try to love for goodness sake. Yeah. I'm trying really hard. Oh, I think the cats are ready to come in. All right, well, have a good one. Bye.